Welcome to ComSpark. We are live here in Cambridge, Massachusetts at MIT, attending the Chief Data Officer Information Quality Symposium, where the world's leaders in IT data have gathered. My name is Matthew Duramo. I am your guest host. Joining me is Susan Wilson, VP of Data Governance with Informatica, correct?
That is correct. You did.
How are you today, Susan?
Very good. How are you?
Doing all right. Appreciate you spending some time with us. We've got a couple questions, just a little handful, so we're going to dive right into it if that's okay.
That sounds great.
Perfect. So what's today's biggest challenge facing the data governance programs?
Yeah. Having been a former data governance leader myself prior to joining Informatica, our data governance leaders are challenged with the growing amounts of data, also the growing consumers that are looking for data and trying to access data, as well as the growing regulations around data and data management. And also top of mind, the expectations of the Chief Data Officer are also growing. When we think about they're being asked to deliver on key business outcomes related to not only regulations, but helping to solve business transformation outcomes, such as finding more operational efficiencies, as well as discovering new products, new drugs, new opportunities. And so the expectations of the CDO have also increased as well.
Sure, absolutely. The data governance around compliance and industry mandates are quite a complex and ever-changing platform. So I can imagine that's something that you've got to keep up with quite a bit.
Right.
But how can CDOs best ensure that they have trusted data?
Yeah. It's really important to be thinking about building out a capabilities framework. And that includes people, the processes, the technology, and ensuring that you're embedding the culture. So in fact, one of our customers who's actually here with me today that will be doing a presentation a little later today is Blake Andrews, Corporate Vice President for New York Life. And what he's going to be talking about is how they went about building out a capabilities framework that is focused in on how to ensure that we've got people identified alongside with the capabilities to support them, to build out the trusted data sources, because in the end what we're looking to do is ensure that we're building quality in upfront in our source systems. And we want to ensure that we've got the business processes, but we also have a common language for what data quality should look like alongside with definitions. And so the capability framework is really important, that we're thinking about this as a corporate function and not just, if you will, it's not about a tool. Or a tool and an implementation.
Sure. Well, speaking of tools and implementation, I mean, how has technology specifically changed how organizations address data governance?
We're in a great time in our lives, especially in data management, especially if you've been working in data management for over a decade. Our technologies are basically the enabling technologies to support data governance program have really emerged and have grown to such a way that we're now able to connect the lines of business, the people who are actually doing the work in the business, alongside with the folks that are in the data governance functions that are trying to pull all of that together, alongside with data management who are actually responsible for implementing it. Now we've got platforms that allow that collaboration to occur so that they're able to see, for example, I've got the ability to collaborate across multiple lines of business on common terminology, on common standard data quality rules, as well as policy definition. And I can look at ways to implement that with a collaborative platform to actually implement the data quality rules or the policy enforcement and report that back to the team so that they can look at the business processes that need to be changed or new ways of training and enablement for the teams to adhere. So the exciting thing is that that's all coming together, because back in the day, we really didn't have a lot to engage those individuals. We're doing that through spreadsheets and SharePoint sites and Excel. And a large part of our data governance programs couldn't sustain the weight of that, and they became kind of bored with the process, or it was just too daunting. And so now the tools have now caught up with not also this emerging need to make them available. So the exciting thing is that we've got that. The other thing that I also want to highlight too is, so not only do we have the governance and collaboration space, but we also have the cataloging to be able to discover where my data is, as well as to connect that to my data scientists. So we're spending less time finding the data and more time analyzing the data and using that for our key business outcomes.
Sure.
And we're also able to use that in the same vein with impact analysis. So a lot of our companies that we're working with are going through a digital transformation. And so top of mind for them is a concern around, as my data landscape changes, what's the impact to data? And so they're leveraging cataloging technologies for both sides, both for operational efficiencies for impact analysis, but also for insights and discovery. And so we're seeing that all converge with the collaborative platforms and engaging with the business. So it's an exciting time for us to be, and I'm really looking forward to what the next 5 to 10 years bring us, because we'll see even more of those collaborations and as well as efficiencies.
Sure.
So
well, I really appreciate the insights, Susan. Thank you so much for spending time with us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for the time to be here too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For more information on today's interview, please go ahead and visit ComSpark.tech.